Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that sounds like a plot from a thriller, but it's chillingly real. Imagine a world where morning sickness medication turns into a nightmare, causing thousands of babies to be born with severe deformities. It happened. It was called thalidomide, and it was a global catastrophe. But what if I told you that a bureaucratic delay in the US might have saved you or someone you know from this tragedy without you even realizing it? Let's unpack this. Our story centers around Dr. Frances Kelsey, a name you might not know, but a hero you definitely should. In 1960, she was a fresh face at the FDA, a pharmacologist who had just joined the agency. Her first big assignment? Reviewing the application for Kevidon, the brand name for thalidomide, by William S. Merrill, an Ohio pharmaceutical company eager to introduce the drug to the U.S. market. This drug had already been approved and was being used widely in Europe as a sedative, especially for pregnant women suffering from morning sickness. It seemed like a routine approval, right? The FDA had just 60 days to raise an objection, or the drug would automatically be greenlit for sale in the United States. Merrill was already pushing hard. They were giving out samples to doctors, and eventually, around 1,200 doctors were handing out free pills to 20,000 American patients, including pregnant women, without even telling them it was an unapproved drug. This was a completely legal field test conducted on an unaware population. The pressure was on. Everyone expected Kelsey to rubber stamp the application. After all, it was a popular drug in Europe, and the company was eager to capitalize on the U.S. market. But Dr. Kelsey wasn't convinced. Something about the application didn't sit right with her. Despite the sheer volume of the documentation, binders the size of phone books, she felt the studies were incomplete. She questioned the methodology, the data, everything. Keep in mind, this was a brand new employee standing up to a major pharmaceutical company. That takes guts. Before the 60-day limit was up, Kelsey sent Merrill a letter stating that their studies were incomplete. This was the first step in saving countless lives. Merrill didn't take this lightly. They cried foul. Executives rushed to Washington, D.C. to complain about this stubborn bureaucrat. They sent letters to her superiors, made phone calls, and even placed editorials in medical publications denouncing her dilatory tactics, which certainly cause a loss to the industry of millions of dollars and even loss of life. They called her unreasonable and irresponsible. Sound familiar? This is the classic playbook of corporations trying to bulldoze their way through regulations. This story echoes so many debates we have today about regulation. You know, like when Elon Musk calls for a wholesale removal of regulations. For years, the mantra of some has been regulations equals bad. But the thalidomide story reminds us why regulations exist in the first place. Fortunes aren't built by providing the safest product assembled by well-paid workers under humane conditions. They are built by cutting corners, by ignoring safety concerns, and by selling drugs that haven't been properly tested. Regulations are the safeguard against that. The argument often goes, if regulations are later found to be necessary, they can be reinstated. But that's a luxury we can't afford when human lives are at stake. The horrific consequences of thalidomide in Europe, 10,000 deformed babies with shortened arms, or mere flippers, added overwhelming weight to Kelsey's argument. But is that a trade-off we're willing to make? A strategy acceptable only if they aren't your baby or you just don't care. Now, let's be clear. Are some regulations over the top? Sure. Anyone who has tried to remodel a bathroom and gone to the town hall for a permit knows that. But ditching regulations wholesale because of occasional excesses is throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Sometimes literally. We need to be smart about regulations, not blindly eliminate them. The United States largely avoided the thalidomide disaster. Only 17 children were deformed by the drug here. That's a stark contrast to the thousands affected in Europe. And it's all thanks to the diligence and stubbornness of one woman, Frances Kelsey. President John F. Kennedy recognized her heroism and gave her the President's Award for Distinguished Federal Civilian Service in 1962. It's a stark reminder of the importance of government oversight and the dedication of public servants. I was born in the summer of 1960, right when this was all unfolding. My mother wasn't given thalidomide by her doctor. Dumb luck protected me. But relying on dumb luck isn't a strategy for a great nation. We don't know what the next thalidomide will be, or how many disasters bothersome bureaucrats and annoying regulations saved us from, or what harms will come from dismantling our government's protective measures. We're going to find out in the years to come, to our sorrow, as we tear down the wall that protects regular Americans from the potential harms of unchecked corporate power. The harm is certain to be enormous. It's ironic. Some of the people shaking their fists at government regulation have fists to shake only because of government meddlers like Francis Kelsey. This brings us to a broader point about drug safety. Even approved drugs can have serious side effects. Take, for example, Lyrica, also known as pregabalin. This medication is used to treat nerve pain, fibromyalgia, and seizures. While it can be effective, it also comes with a laundry list of potential side effects. I'm not talking about a harmless rash either. Let's dig into the details. The FDA tracks side effects of drugs it has approved through MedWatch, a vital system for identifying and monitoring these issues. Some of the mild side effects of Lyrica can include blurry vision, difficulty concentrating, dizziness, dry mouth, problems with balance and coordination, sexual side effects, sleepiness, swelling in your hands or feet, weakness, and weight gain. Most of these might fade in a few days or weeks, but some can persist. What's really concerning is that some of these, like sleepiness, can significantly impact your ability to function safely. Imagine driving while feeling constantly drowsy. That's a real risk. Now, let's move to the serious stuff. While less common, Lyrica can cause some frightening side effects. These include thrombocytopenia, a low platelet count, which can manifest as petechiae, those small, round, dark red spots on the skin, or purpura, a bruise-like rash. Then there's the risk of muscle-related side effects, including rhabdomyolysis, where muscle tissue breaks down, leading to unexplained muscle pain, tenderness, weakness, and even fever. And let's not forget angioedema, which can cause swelling of the face, mouth, and throat, leading to life-threatening breathing problems. Perhaps the most concerning side effect is the potential for depression and an increased risk of suicidal thoughts or behaviors. Like other medications for epilepsy, Lyrica can increase this risk. Symptoms of depression include loss of interest in hobbies and activities, a depressed mood that doesn't go away, and feelings of guilt or worthlessness. It's crucial to pay close attention to your behavior, moods, and thoughts while taking Lyrica, and immediately report any new or worsening symptoms of depression or suicidal thoughts to your doctor. The dangers aren't limited to just Lyrica. Let's talk about Xanax, a drug often prescribed for anxiety. Xanax comes with several serious FDA warnings, the most prominent being boxed warnings. These are the most serious alerts the FDA issues, highlighting potentially dangerous drug effects. One of the biggest concerns with Xanax is the risk of misuse and addiction. This is where the drug is taken for a purpose or in a way not prescribed by a doctor. Misuse can quickly lead to addiction, where you become unable to stop taking the drug, even when it's causing harm. Another significant risk with Xanax is dependence and withdrawal. With dependence, your body becomes reliant on the drug to function normally. This can lead to withdrawal symptoms if you suddenly stop taking the drug. These symptoms can range from anxiety and insomnia to seizures and even death. It's crucial to work closely with your doctor to gradually taper off Xanax to minimize these risks. The most alarming boxed warning for Xanax is the risk of severe harm or death if taken with opioids. Combining Xanax with an opioid can cause excessive sleepiness, breathing problems, coma, and, in rare cases, death. Because of these risks, doctors typically avoid prescribing Xanax with an opioid unless there are no other suitable treatment options. If your doctor does prescribe them together, they'll prescribe the lowest possible dosage for the shortest possible time. These examples, Lyrica and Xanax, highlight the importance of a robust regulatory framework. To understand just how vital the FDA is, let's take a step back in time. Imagine a world without the FDA. This was the reality in the early 1900s. Butchers slaughtering diseased animals, rats crawling over piles of meat, and toxic preservatives being added to canned goods. Medicines containing alcohol or morphine without any labeling. It was a public health nightmare. The FDA's early years were marked by significant challenges. Think of the early days of the FDA as the Wild West of pharmaceuticals and food production. There were very few rules, and companies could get away with pretty much anything. This lack of oversight led to widespread contamination, adulteration, and outright fraud. It was a constant battle for the FDA to gain the authority and resources needed to protect the public. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the future of medical diagnostics with a company called Theranos. Elizabeth Holmes claimed that Theranos was revolutionizing blood testing by using just a tiny drop of blood from a finger prick. But Theranos quickly fell from grace after it was revealed that their technology was flawed, and the company had misled investors and the public. Holmes was later convicted of fraud. The Theranos saga serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of hype and the importance of rigorous scientific validation. It also underscores the critical role of regulatory oversight in ensuring the safety and efficacy of new technologies. The FDA has a responsibility to scrutinize new medical devices and diagnostic tests to protect patients from potentially harmful or ineffective products. The key is to ensure the safety and accuracy of medical testing while encouraging innovation. So, what does all this mean for the future? It means that we need a strong and independent FDA, one that is able to stand up to corporate pressure and prioritize public health. It means that we need to be vigilant about deregulation and understand the potential consequences of cutting corners. And it means that we need to support the dedicated public servants who work tirelessly to protect us from harm. The story of thalidomide should serve as a constant reminder of the importance of government oversight and the value of regulations. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of the tech and regulatory landscape. Thanks for watching.